Happy Tuesday, everybody! I am just waiting for Nikki to pop on, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about emotional eating, the struggles that pop up. Hello, hello. I can see that we have one viewer, but I don't know who you are. Let me see if I can. Oh, there you are. Yes. All right, Nikki. Oh, wait. I'm trying to add you. Okay. Hey, Alicia. All right, I'm trying to add you. Guest requests. Okay, for some reason, Nikki won't let me add you. Are you on your... Because it'll let me add Alicia. I don't think Alicia wants to be on. Hey. Okay. I don't know if it'll let me add. Oh, wait, there we go. Adding. You on. Connecting. Yay! We are on. We are here. We are live. All right, we got to share this. Sharing it live. All right, everybody. I'm so glad. Okay, so we are going to be talking about emotional eating. We kind of did this. Hey, Donna, we did this a couple months ago. It was wildly fun. We did it in the evening. I need to do it in the morning. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the struggles that people have as post-ops, as emotional eaters, because what happens is in the post-op life is prior to surgery, there is a lot of obviously it's the bigger stomach, so it's hard to stay satiated. So after surgery, what we see is a surge of grazing. It's a surge of individuals who have head hunger. It's not necessarily physical hunger, but head hunger, or what we call emotional hunger, that arises due to stress. It arises due to, hey, Charlotte, it arises due to overwhelm. It can happen because of boredom. It can happen because of any number of emotions that pop up. And sometimes people don't even know it because it's what we call an autopilot behavior. So the reason I brought Nichelle on is because she has, I don't mean to call you out, but some firsthand experience with this. And one of the reasons that I'm hosting this is I wanted to talk about helping people to avoid regain, right? Because what happens is it can kind of sneak up on you rather quickly. And what we want to do is kind of stop that in its tracks and help people either go back to losing or maintain. And maintenance is a whole different ball game than losing. So tell me about your experience, Nikki, on where you've been in this process.
Okay. You all, thank you for going to my car and getting my charger, because I would hate to drop out on you. So.
I'm trying to.
Okay. So, I'm one of those people that is different from most people, and I don't know exactly when I had my first surgery, but it was about 15 or so years ago.
Okay.
Okay, here we are. So it's about 15 or so years ago, and I was well over 400 pounds. Lost weight, was able to have children. So I don't regret it for a second, because that enabled me to have children. But then when I was pregnant with my second child, They were telling me that she was underweight and that I needed to eat in order to help her gain. And so that introduced me not necessarily wanting to, because I hadn't tested my limits
Mm-hmm.
basically. And so I learned that basically nothing was off limits for me. It was knowledge that I didn't wish to have. And so with that, that ended up having to regain almost 100 pounds. And so, so I struggled with the regain. And then in 2016, um, I had a revision surgery. And that revision surgery has an extended Roux-en-Y. And so it didn't reduce the size of my stomach, but it helps me to, like, kind of focus on eating the right things. And so, I was in a place where I knew what I needed to do physically, but the emotional eating part, it's like, it wasn't because I was quote unquote hungry, physically hungry.
Right.
My body needing nutrition, but there was something that was just driving me to eat. And and so, and then I met you.
Oh.
And yeah. And so I was kind of walking when you were talking, but I went through the inaugural session of the emotional eating, the bariatric mindset program. And I'm one of those people that I think is like a lot of people, that thinks, when you start talking about emotional eating, I'm an accomplished career woman, and, like, some of the stuff kind of sounds fluffy. But what made me stop and pay attention to you is that I knew that you had walked the walk.
Mm-hmm.
You've been through, and like your story, when I start to read your book, it was like a lot of the same things that I had gone through. And so you walked the walk, and so I gave it a chance, and it works. Um, so when I say fluffy, it's like
That doesn't hurt my feelings.
I knew it wouldn't, because it's like, I know, just getting to know you is like, is like why I trusted that I would spend time doing this, because I knew that you weren't fluffy. I know that you knew your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the first things, like in the very beginning of the program, was to like kind of name your feelings, and that was different. It's like, okay, I'm happy, I'm sad, but, like, going another level to kind of like just really paying attention to what it is that you're feeling, so that you can know that, hey, it's not that I'm hungry, it's that I'm lonely or bored or overtired or stressed, or something
Right.
something deeper.
Right.
That was the biggest and first thing that came out of this for me personally, among many things. So I'm excited to be back, for the next round of it.
Well, and the thing that I wanted to kind of talk about in this process is more about where people engage in emotional eating, right? So a lot of people think that it's only like, I want to say, I'll give an example, because I saw, it was probably a couple months ago. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I had seen an episode of My 600-Pound Life, and this one woman, I don't even know her name because I don't keep track of stuff like that, but she was like, I am not an emotional eater, da 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 da. And so here's the thing. When we did that exercise of connecting the emotions, um, and recognizing what the emotions are, of course somebody's going to be in denial that they're an emotional eater, because they don't even know what they're feeling, because they've pushed down and suppressed those emotions for so long, especially if you grew up in a family where, and I don't know if anybody else resonates with this, like you don't speak until spoken to. Children are to be seen and not heard. Like that was an upbringing. And so, I mean, I don't remember ever being told not to cry, but I have quite a few clients that are like, stop crying, straighten up and stuff like that. So it's like the outward showing of emotions for a lot of people in a lot of families was unacceptable. So if you had to suppress it or push it down and not express it, then of course, how are you going to even recognize it? And there's a plethora of emotions, like you had mentioned, happy, sad, like, hey, Dawn, hey, Angie, like happy, sad, like there's like 200 more, like, in terms of what the emotions are. Like even bored, there's 3 different degrees of bored. When I was going through and writing the bariatric mindset book, and I was going back and forth with creating a feelings list, I was all over scouring, like there's another word. So, and that's because, oops, you popped off. She popped off. I'll wait for her to pop back on. Did you pop off? So there's like a ton of different words. Nichelle, I can't add you, so I don't know if you have to ask to come back. Oh wait, there we go. So there's a ton of different words. Wait, it won't let me add you. So there's a ton of different words that could stand for different emotions. Go ahead and request it again if you get a chance, Nichelle. So I think that's the missing piece, is that it's uncomfortable. The blanket, I think that a lot of people feel is it's discomfort. And so the first thing that we go to, and I talked about this yesterday on another live stream. Hey, Tina. Hey, Mary. I talked about this on another live stream that I did with Dawn, which is that we recognize when we're uncomfortable, we may not recognize the emotion, but that we move, hey, Tina, we move over to, oh, I don't like this. I need to raise my mood. And so what do? We eat to get that dopamine hit, right? So that's where a lot of people will go to. And so that becomes an autopilot behavior. So one of the things that we want to do is reduce that, right? And so a lot of times the glad you're back, the thing that happens that people recognize and realize is that, first of all, they recognize what they're feeling. And then we focus on, what do you need? What are you needing? Right? Because you're not needing the food, you're needing something else. But the food is what you've used so long. And so it's become this coping mechanism for dealing with your emotions. So with this, what we want to do is dig deeper on those, not just the emotions, but what to do differently, how to shift it, and to practice the awareness. And so that kind of brings me to another point. This is the bariatric mindset group program, which we're going to be launching. When I say launching, like we're open for enrollment now, but we're going to be starting next Wednesday and Thursday. But what I want to share is, this is a coaching program. This is not a counseling program. We're not going back into past traumas. We're not going back to your childhood. If somebody needs that, I definitely recommend you hire a counselor. Even though I am a counselor, this is a coaching program. So because we want to take the emotions and shift them kind of to the future, like to, set goals and have you achieve it and have you to do things differently. This is not a go back into the past and rehash kind of stuff. So I want to be clear on that. But the reason I think, and I'm so passionate about this and it working, is because there are so many aha moments that people have, and they're like, oh, I see why I'm doing that. And we look at the behaviors as well as what's kind of going on, where their goals are, and then where their autopilot behaviors are. And we just tweak them. So it's kind of like, it's not this huge overhaul of you having to change 100 things in your life, but it's what Tony Robbins calls like 2mm shifts. So we kind of make these little tweaks, and then before you know it, in the 3 or 4 months time, you're like, oh my gosh, like this has made a huge shift. And if anybody who is on this call is in the program and you want to give us any feedback, insight, or comments on what to expect, feel free to to type away there. Hey, Jonathan. But what was I know you talked about the emotions. Was there any one like tool or strategy that you felt was like boom, like for you?
So, I had kind of been, so it's a lot of it for me was just like taking the time to like focus on myself. And one of the things I had the most trouble with was planning ahead and just not having the right things available for when I was actually like when I actually was hungry or when it was actually time to eat. And so that accountability workbook, and I meant to bring it with me, was like huge because I could like it was there and I kept it available and I could write. I had a plan.
Yes.
I had a And so even when I had shared with you before, like life was really crazy, like in these past few months for me. I had a wreck and then, I had both kids in the hospital at one point. And, so it's like
Can I out you and say that you missed a bunch of live calls, but you would always check in with me. You always watch the replay, and that's where I think a lot of people, I want to share with them, like if you can't make it on the live calls, you always get the replay.
and you would not let me disappear. That's another thing that you get from here. She won't let you disappear. So it's like,
You
when I'm
can't
like,
fly
I'm
under
just
my radar. There's three
out.
others, and if they watch this, they'll know who they are. That I'm like, where are you? What are you doing? Where have you been?
People call you out, and yes, and so I was guilty of that, but then I realized, life, I tried to go back to the time where life wasn't chaotic,
Mm-hmm.
and just I couldn't name that time. So it's like, so I had it click like, okay, so what can I do right now with where I am with the chaos, and just that one thing of like having a plan. And even if, some weeks I'm like, that worked. And so I just went back and I repeated, it's like the same things from the previous week. The other thing that was really helpful is to have the replays. And so if you're in a call and you need to go back or you need to be reinforced, you can go back and you can listen to the calls. And then there's, multiple sessions, you have access to all of those. And so you can have different people. And another thing, I just keep going, and another. But another thing that was extremely helpful was having a group of people that was also going through it with you. So it's like different people had different struggles or different perspectives, and it's nice to know that even wherever you are, there's somebody that's doing the same thing in a different way, but it's like you kind of have your tribe. You kind of have people that you're going through it with.
Yeah, and I mean the thing that I also you know, one of the things a lot of people ask, and so I want to kind of answer questions that some people had asked on the post that I made. So one of the things that somebody said was, how are you going to get the one-on-one time? And so what I kind of go through is I tailor this to whoever's on the call. So that's kind of what makes this so unique is that I literally go from person to person to person and I'm like, okay, you're up. What's the deal? And I have these session prep questions that kind of get you in the mindset of what am I struggling with? Like it's a whole series of questions like where are your successes? Where are you this time? And so everybody can like hit those points. And what I see is there's always a theme. There's always a theme. And even if everybody is on opposite sides of the country, they're typically 2 to 3 people that are going through something similar at the same time. And so that's why I'm so passionate about the group programs. Don't get me wrong, I love my one-on-one clients, but this is why I'm so passionate is because somebody will go, oh my gosh, I'm like, that's exactly what I'm dealing with. Or, I dealt with that last week, or here's a suggestion. And so those are some things that I think coincide beautifully because this is also about like teaching others in the group to support one another and to say, hey, have you thought of this, or remember that tool from last week, or this is something else. So it's unifying people on a different level, because this is not, and I said this last time, this is not like the average, like, here's your meal plan, here's the fitness, which I think is awesome. And if you guys need that kind of group, I know where you can go, because it's amazing. But this is emotional. This is not, here's your meal plan, here's your fitness, and here's your support, which is needed, but that is light. That is kind of like a light. This is a deep dive into, why do I keep doing the same things over and over? I'm frustrated with myself. And yes, and it helps you to open up. Thank you, Angie, for sharing that. It helps to open up because it is very small. Like, we usually don't have, I want to say the most we've ever had on a call is maybe 9 or 10 people, like, and people pop on and pop off. So like, sometimes people will say, hey, I've only got 30 minutes, and I've got to speak my piece and run. And so then they say what they need to say, they get feedback, and then they hop off. And then when I send out the worksheet, their tool that I've given for them is on that worksheet. But not only do they get that tool, everybody gets that tool. So one of the things that happened, I think 2 weeks ago, was we had one person who needed a specific tool for monitoring her eating. And then 2 other people were like, hey, I used that tool and it worked. But that wasn't one that I had specifically assigned to them. But that's what makes this so, I think, amazing. But then again, I'm the one who's running it. But the thing that I think is amazing is you kind of get access to all of these tools, and within the 2-week period that we have in between sessions, you get to try on these tools for size, and you're like, this works. Okay, I'm still working on this, or I'm still struggling with this, and so it's kind of like you end up like with so many tools, like, and you can add to this, but on each of the worksheets, I want to say there's a minimum of 5.
Mm-hmm.
A minimum of 5 things each session that you get that's applicable. And we've had, this last time, the inaugural course was 7 sessions. The next one, the one that we're enrolling for now, is going to be 8. So there's actually going to be 8 sessions, which actually, when you sign up for the early bird, I want to say, if you did the payment plan, is $36 a session. $36.
Which is ridiculous. It's
Which
really
is
ridiculous what you get.
You can't get group therapy for that.
Right.
And
I mean, it's really amazing.
So it, and for the regular enrollment, it's $48. So it's still, I'm keeping it under $50 a session.
And which is not even, so if you think about that, that's not $50
and you get to
an
pop
hour.
on the other one. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But that's the other thing. Like, your session is your main session. So there's 8 main sessions, but actually I have alternatives. So I'm going to use Angie as an example, because she already outed herself that she's on my calls. But like, let's say Angie pops on Wednesday night and she speaks, but Thursday morning, she's not going to speak, but she wants to listen in. She's going to get the recording for both Wednesday and Thursday. So actually she has access to 16 calls, but she's going to participate in 1 for that week. Does that make sense?
It does. And so she gets to, like, and then she gets to network with a larger group of people. But that's not all of it, though, because there's the worksheets, and then you have the office hours. So it's like, when you start adding up time, it ends up being like, maybe $10 per hour of internet. I mean, because it gets really, for all that you get in the program, because those worksheets, they make you sit down, and they make you think, and they make you, like, it causes you to pause and, like, kind of evaluate. I don't want to skip over, though, the office hours that you're available to. So you have office hours every week.
Yeah.
during the program where you're just available. So there's your one-on-one that people are missing, because these are things that you ask specifically. You're not in the, I mean, you're inside of the secret Facebook group, but you're asking things that are specifically
Two
about
people in
you.
the group, yeah.
Right. And so you're there, and it's different than other groups in that one that you're trained, and so you're guided, and so the things that you put out there are valid.
Hey,
You're not.
hey, Courtney, and I'm excited that you guys are going to be joining us. We were just talking about all the things that are kind of going on inside the group, what we kind of are finishing up this time, and what to expect. And yeah, the office hours. So I try to keep it uniform. I know in the beginning I was like, oh my gosh, where am I going to put this? But it's, hey, Leslie. So we're in the we kind of have, I'll tell in advance like when the office hour is, and then I let everybody know like, hey, I'm here, like what questions do you have? And I usually try to remind people in the morning, like, when is, this is when office hours is, prep yourself. And then people always can tag me too. Like if somebody, if it's like office hours are typically on Monday, but if somebody needs to like tag me on a Wednesday or Friday, I'm like, tag me and I'll respond. And I try to come in every day. Like sometimes it's like I'll miss something, but I try to look and go, okay, who needs some support, who needs some advice. And the other thing is, everybody's also commenting and supporting one another. And again, it goes deeper than, this is how much I've lost, or this is what's going on with me. It goes to, okay, I'm really struggling with staying away from the chips in my house because my family keeps bringing it home, or I find myself staring at the fridge. Like it goes into the emotional piece, but then we kind of assess it. And this is where it's like more coaching than anything, is we kind of assess it. We have a tool, we use the tool, we move ahead. So
It's tactical too, yeah. So it's not just the emotional part. It's like it's tactical. It's like, what do you need to do? Like, get it done. And so I know that one of the outcomes of this is that I've become if anybody follows my pages, I've become more of a vegetable eater. So, and that's from, just from realizing where I needed to make some changes.
So,
excuse me.
and so the emotional eating, when I talk about it, I can give 100 different reasons of where people are struggling with emotional eating. What we start with is definitely practicing the awareness. The other thing that I like to encourage, this last time we kind of did a tutorial on how to create berry friendly recipes, even though I'm not the food lady. Like I am the head lady. Like that's what I say. I'm not the food person. But I want to make it simple. So the strategy of it is simplifying. So essentially, this group is different because the people who are in the group actually are the ones who create the group. I just come in and kind of assess where everybody's at. And so I don't know if I'd say like everybody in the group is my muse, so to speak. Like everybody comes in with their stuff, and then that's where like the magic happens. So it's not like, okay, here's the curriculum. Like week 1, it's this. Week 2, it's this. It's like if this person comes in with a relationship issue and this person comes in with a boss issue, or this person comes in with another type of stress, right? That's not related. What we do is then we connect them, right? And then it's also using a tool for this person who's having the relationship issue, this person who's having, so the tools are very specific to the circumstances of the people involved. So it's almost like having a one-on-one, but in a group setting where everybody's needs are taken into consideration, and the tools are derived from the specific people in the group, their specific needs, but then it's applicable to everybody, which is how we end up with 6 or 7 tools per session. And then you can choose like, okay, this is what my focus is. This is what I'm working on for the next 2 weeks. And then in between, we have the office hours. In between, you also have your accountability buddies, because that's what we do is we hook up with somebody else in the group so that you guys can keep tabs on one another. And so it's like, okay, what are you working on? What are you working on? You have access to the private secret Facebook group where you can type in there. And they're all of these different components. And again, like Nichelle said, if I don't see somebody posting, I'm like, hey, where are you at? What's going on with you? And if somebody isn't on the calls, I'm going to tag you in the post, because you're not just going to disappear on me. And I know some people have who are in there have been like, oh, I'm traveling, or I'm this, and but that's something that I will keep tabs on people and check in and go, hey, what's going on with you? Because I know what it's like to also be on the other end, like you, because I'm in some other groups for myself. And it's like sometimes life does get hard and life does get busy. And me being like you guys, because I've walked the walk, I tend to kind of disappear. I withdraw when I'm having a difficult time. And it's good for somebody to reach out and to go, hey, I care. I want to know that you're okay. I want to know what you're up to. And that's something that I know that I've needed in the past, and I want to provide that for people who are also going through something, because the thing that I see in this community is that it's very difficult for people to ask for help. Shrink back. You got it, girl. Yeah, I'm not going to let you shrink back.
And that's like, especially when you're dealing with something like emotional eating, it's easy, or it's the easy way out, but it doesn't lead you to a resolution, to just kind of, just say, forget it, and then try to hide back, or try
And
to
it can
shrink
also
back.
be shame provoking, right? So also we're supportive. So if somebody's like, nobody did this, but if somebody were to say like, oh my gosh, I ate a whole batch of cookies, like we kind of circle around you instead of going, it's more of where we're surrounding you and going, okay, let's practice the compassion. Like what do you need? What else is going on? Like let's take this as a learning experience and move and forge ahead. What did you learn? What did you gain from this experience? But I think so many people, and myself included, having gone through that, is that why would you do that? Like, you know better than that. Oh, Charlotte. Like, I think that's what is really a struggle, is that we expect to be shamed, because for so long it's shame provoking. Like, how could I have done this to myself? Why do I keep doing this? And that's where we want to create these mindset shifts, so that this in here is far more encouraging than discouraging, because we don't need any more of that. We can get that on the news, we can get that on the TV. We need to shift the self-talk, and that's just one piece. We've got to shift the behaviors too. But that's what this group is all about.
And it's a safe place to, like you said, just to kind of reiterate what you said, it's a safe place to do that, because people are here not because they've conquered it, it's because they're working through it. And so there's a commonality there, and you can fall off the table, or but you can really you can share and like know that you're supported here, even in this mean world where it's not always good. Because even in some groups, there are some that are much better than others, and there's some with moderators that care. But people can get pretty mean, just even in the Facebook world. So this is like a really safe place
Mm-hmm.
that you can imagine, like, so my company is my bariatric box. So you can imagine that it's not very safe for me to go and and say I messed up somewhere, outside of this small area. But here it's okay, because it's like, I'm one of everybody else.
Yeah.
And we're doing it together. And
Yeah.
I love this.
Thank you.
I love
We're supporting each other. I love it.
it.
And I'm so glad that you're a part of this. So last time we partnered with my bariatric box, and this time I'm gonna let you take it away and share.
I wish I had the T-shirt to share. It's not this one, even though this one is pretty amazing. But what we're doing is, I know I love designing T-shirts. But so for anybody who sees this live and mentions, did you create a code for it?
I asked Alicia and she was looking into it, but if people either send me an email or post, we haven't created a code for it yet, but if, we could either call it t-shirt or my bariatric box or something like that. And
Just
people can tag me or something.
just let Kristin know that you saw this video, and that'll be good enough. You saw this live, and
when you sign up.
when you sign up, yeah, not unless you signed up before now, then
Unless you
we're
signed
still
up
good.
before now, and then you can just shoot me an email or a text. It's Kristin at Bariatric Mindset.
We have my bariatric box is introducing a T-shirt line, and it's called the T-shirt that shrinks with you. And so it's designed to, as people go through their journey, you get a T-shirt now, and then as encouragement to keep going. 6 months down the line, you're in a smaller size, you get another T-shirt just for the cost of shipping. So if you sign up and mention this, you'll get the first T-shirt in that line free. I'll send it to you. It's a really awesome shirt, and I don't have anything to show you. So look on. So
Well,
go
you could send
to
the link later because I remember you showing it to me. So a picture or something.
Yeah, so I'll send you the link, but it's a really cool shirt. It says progress is perfection on the back, and it has like all kinds of excuses and that you keep going on the back.
Right, right. So we're moving through.
Next box, and so Angie's already going to get a shirt. The T-shirts are going to be in the my bariatric box that's coming up next month.
Yeah.
So
and everybody, I've included the bonuses in this program. I've got some awesome other awesome bonuses that I haven't even shared yet. I know everybody in this round is getting a bracelet. So the new expand your mindset, shrink your body bracelet. And this is good because, and it's not called a snap bracelet, it's just called a silicone bracelet. But the thing that's great about this is that if you're really struggling, you can kind of like snap it. Not that you want to hurt yourself, but it's a great behavioral tool in terms of like, oh, yes, this is not what I need right now. So it offers that behavioral component of the reminder of what you're working towards, and it kind of can be that thing of where you're forging ahead, and that reminder of, okay, I don't need the chocolate right now. So they're getting that, and then everybody's getting a 3-month accountability workbook. And then I'm also putting in there, I have a slew of different vitamin samples. ProCare Health gave me some, hey Andrea, some of their chocolates, their calcium chocolates. So I'm putting those in the bonus package. And then I think I'm also going to have some other freebies for people to try for everybody that signs up. So that's going to be in the bonus pack that everybody will be getting. And so I'm really excited about that. So, and the reason I wanted to do this today is because today's the last day for the early bird. So, enrollment is going to stay open through next Wednesday, the 15th, because next Wednesday is going to be our first session. And the thing that I've added this time, which is why I've had to increase the pricing. And I know a bunch of people had signed up for the wait list. And so that's why I wanted to offer this early bird promo, because I'm adding another session. You know what? The woman emailed me, Tina. So I'm going to follow up. And if anything, I will get a bag and send it to you. How's that? You and I will work out the deets later if they can't ship directly, but I'll figure that out. And I know that I'll send that. Snap out of it, girl. So, oh, the purple, oh, you're just now seeing that? Yeah, snap out of it. So that's why I had to increase it, because I'm adding another session, especially right before the holidays. This group is prepping you for the holidays, because the next one isn't going to start until January. So this one goes August 15th through November 15th, and it's ending right before Thanksgiving. I know it's not going to end before Canadian Thanksgiving, Tina, but I'm sure you'll forgive me, but we'll be in the middle of it. So I've got you. And this way we will kind of get you set up for success for the holidays. And then we're going to take a break from November 15th. And then anybody who wants to restart will be in the January group, and we'll start after New Year's, about the week after New Year's. So, but this is literally to get, you know, your head game on, to help you to avoid slip ups, to catch yourself. See, that's the beauty. Now that people have gone through this program, people are going, oh my gosh, I stopped myself. I did this instead. I did this. And so that's where the golden nuggets are, is instead of going, oh my gosh, I did this, they're saying, guess what happened? I did this instead of running towards whatever it was. So that's what's important. And if you guys haven't gotten on board with Nichelle and my bariatric box, she has amazing boxes with different bariatric products every month. And so that's something that that I love. And that's how we started to kind of partner together. So does anybody have any other questions for me, either specifically about the program, specifically about emotional eating, or does anybody have any questions for Nikki about the box or about her experience?
Ask away.
Ask away.
I tagged my page while you were talking. I put a picture of the shirt so you can see what the shirt is going to look like on my page, and then we'll also send that out to you. Too.
I wonder if I can send it to your page. I don't know if I can send it to your page or not. You might have to share it to your page. But I'm just looking for any comments. Does anybody have any questions? Anything they'd like to clarify? But really, in terms of the emotional eating component, or, you know, why am I doing this? That's something that we kind of cover in a case-by-case basis, and everybody has an opportunity to, you know, to discuss what they're going through. I just wanted to answer any questions that anybody had. Carmela's like, yeah. So I'm glad this helped, Charlotte. The you know, everybody going through this journey, that's why I wanted to make this personalized. Like, I can absolutely, you know, write a course, and I think that is valuable material, like psychoeducational material. Come on, Tina, I got room. Tina's like, can I move in with you? So I think that everybody's going through a different piece of the process, a different piece of the journey, and that's why I think this is so valuable for people to share, because it's, oh, I just went through that, or, oh, I'm going through this, and we pull out themes. So I remember one time during the group, like literally everybody was slacking on self-care. So that was something that we all came up with different strategies that week for self-care. I know what we're coming up on in fall. Okay, now that the kids are back to school, we have Halloween and Halloween candy hanging around the house. We have Thanksgiving and pies and desserts and a lot of carby stuff. And so we've got to, it's not just the food that's the issue, it's our attraction to it, right? So those are the things that we want to uncover. And there's a lot of aha moments, a lot of depth, and a lot of the kind of like the emotional underpinnings of, oh, this is what I'm struggling with. And then we connect the dots and give you the strategies to move you forward. And so I'm accessible, other people in the group are accessible. And so this is why, of course, I think it's amazing, because and we have quite a few people who are coming back. And so Michelle says, what if I haven't had the surgery? Do you suggest that I wait for a later group? When is your surgery, Michelle? And then I'm also gonna put Nikki on the spot and ask her what she thinks. Because I think, and this is what I said to somebody else who was having surgery in November, is if you're struggling prior to surgery, this is gonna help you kind of get a mindset reset as you lead into surgery. I did have a couple people message me saying, I can't make it this time around. I'm going to join the one in January. And so it's a personal decision. And I'm not a hard and fast salesperson. I want to help you grow. That's what I want to see. I want to see everybody in this program grow. Now, do I think you can grow prior to surgery? Absolutely. It's a different set of struggles than after surgery. I will tell you that. But when you start to realize and practice the awareness of what you're going through as a pre-op, I think my opinion is it helps you become better prepared as a post-op. But now I'm the facilitator, so that's why I said I wanted to put Nikki on the kind of on the spot to ask her what she thought. And Michelle says it's not scheduled yet. It's in the authorization process. I'm expecting mid to late September. What are your thoughts?
I think that it can be valuable because I've been through bariatric surgery twice. And what happens is, so initially after surgery, it's like, I don't know if it's the newness of it. It's definitely the restriction, but you don't necessarily want to eat, not even emotionally. But at some point, it kicks back in. And if you're not prepared for it, then it can hit you like a ton of bricks. And you can go and scan any bariatric focused Facebook group and search through what people are saying, and that's what you see. You see people who are like, I don't know what to do. Help me. I just drank a whole bottle of something that I wasn't supposed to, or I just ate a whole box of crackers. So it helps you to, if that's been your struggle before, it just helps you be prepared. It helps you get ahead of it before. So I definitely think it'll be something to put in the back of your mind, even if you're not struggling with it. But like before surgery, like it'll help you get prepared for the liquid diet, because when you're doing that, you're not having food, and it's like you really, a lot of people struggle with that, and so that can it can help you with that part of it too, I think, because it's like, it's not that you're hungry because your body's getting the nutrition that it needs, but it helps you to focus and to name those feelings and to be in tune with it.
It's also about, I've seen a lot of posts that are like either liquid diet or they're on a low carb. I personally, my surgical center, and it's crazy because I just found my packet from my surgical center. It's on the floor here from 5 years ago. But I had to do a low carb diet where it was 1,100, I think, calories a day and less than 40 grams of carbs a day. Less than 40 grams of carbs a day. And I was like, focused. And believe me, it was difficult because at the time I was living at my parents' house, and they had all of this like yummy goodness around, all of these carbs. And I was like, no, 2 weeks, that's it. I got this. And that was how I got through, but that's not how we can live the rest of our lives. So this is also about mediating and moderating. What can I have? What can I not have? What is going to push me over the edge or outside my comfort zone? What's going to make me feel guilty? What is all of those
Mhm.
things. Because there were some things that I did past surgery that brought so much shame because I was like, oh my gosh, I know I'm not supposed to be eating this. And I think initially, as a pre-op, when you start to get prepared, and again, this group is not a finger pointing group. This is about, again, like wrapping our arms around you and going, what can we help you um, working through these feelings and working through what your attachment is to this specific food, right? And where does that come from to help you shift to where you're going and to have less attachments with food? Like, that's the thing that I think is so important, is the less attachments. I know for me, prior to surgery, I was very attached to food, very, very, very attached to food. And now, yes, there's still foods that I'm like, ooh, that's really good, but there are just foods that I I used to treat food like it was my last meal all the time. and
Mhm. Yeah.
now it's like, it's just food.